Alrighty, we are back. I told you yesterday that we were going to talk about a restaurant that is anti-gun, anti-safety, anti-liberty, anti-life, pro-death. He received a response letter, and I'd like to share the response letter with you. Dear Mr. Carpenter, thank you for taking the time to write us with your concerns. Ralph Rubio has reviewed your letter and has discussed it with me. After careful consideration, Rubio's Restaurants Incorporated has decided to maintain a consistent approach to guest and team member safety across our entire system, and have therefore chosen not to allow firearms in our Arizona restaurants. Although we understand that getting a license to carry a concealed weapon can be a thorough process, we have a duty to our guests and team members to make them feel safe and comfortable. We realize that even though not everyone may feel uncomfortable around firearms, we have to make the best decision for the company as a whole. We hope that you can recognize and empathize with our perspective and will continue to patronize our restaurants. Thank you again for taking the time to contact us. We value your business. We'll continue to work hard to earn it. Where to start? Virtually every sentence here, other than thank you for taking your time to write us, is an act of stupidity and lies, blatant lies. Now, this letter is written by Mark Simon, the Chief Operating Officer, but he says that Ralph Rubio reviewed the letter and then discussed it with Mark Simon. So presumably Mark Simon is speaking on behalf of Ralph Rubio. So let's go and see what Ralph Rubio is actually saying. After careful consideration, after asinine lack of careful consideration, Rubio's Restaurants has decided to maintain a consistent approach. Okay, got no problem with that, especially in the restaurant business. Consistency is the key word, right? A consistent approach to guest and team member safety across our entire system, and have therefore chosen not to allow firearms in our Arizona restaurant. Now, guest and team member safety. Okay, see, that's what it's all about. They have a consistent approach to guest and team member safety. As we're going to discover in just a moment, what that consistent approach is to rob them of their safety, to make them completely vulnerable. Well, they already have been made completely vulnerable. What Ralph Rubio is saying is, I don't want them to be safe. I want them to be victims. I want them to be killed. I want them to be maimed. And I want them to have not a damn thing they can even do about it when it happens. That's what Ralph Rubio is saying. Although we understand that getting a license to carry a concealed weapon can be a thorough process, we have a duty to our guests and team members to make them feel safe and comfortable. Even though they are anything but safe, I'm not really concerned about their comfort. I'm more concerned about the unalienable right of self-defense. I'm more concerned about innocent people not getting gunned down. I'm not all that concerned about somebody's comfort. There are idiots everywhere you go. There are idiots. By the way, I've got to tell you, Rubio's Fresh Mexican Grill is one of my favorites, and I'll never step foot in there again. I'll never pay them a penny again, and I hope you join me in that. Never again. One of my favorite restaurants, and I will never, ever, ever give them a penny again, and you shouldn't either. Because they believe in making victims out of their staff and making victims out of their customers. Now, let me explain this to you. This at approximately the same time that Ralph Rubio was writing this asinine piece of garbage, what was it, Taco Bell in California, a guy walks in and starts hosing a bunch of people down. You know, the cases are replete. Ralph, Booby, you're the founder of a major successful corporation. So presumably you have some modification, I can speak, I'm so irritated, modicum of intelligence, some native intelligence hiding somewhere underneath that corporate veneer. So help me out here, Chuck, Ralph, whatever you are. God, I'm pissed. Help me out with this, will you? So two bad guys come along. They pull up outside of the Rubio's Fresh Mexican Grill. They want to go in and rob the place, and they want to rob the customers, and who knows what else they want to do, right? They're felons. They might want to rape, they might want to murder. That's what felons do. So they decide they want to go into Rubio's Fresh Mexican restaurant. Now help me with this, Ralph, okay? Help me with this. So they get to the door. They pull down their little criminal hoods with the little eye sockets cut out. They've got their guns. They look at the sign that says no firearms. I guess we can't rob this place. I guess we can't murder and rape in here because they put up a sign. I guess we should get back in the car and go to a place without a sign. Hey, Ralph, baby, you think this is really going to happen? Or do you think it's more likely that frickin' frack the felons are going to open the door, walk in, and start committing heinous felonies on your disarmed staff and disarmed customers? It's called a victim zone, Ralph. It's called a place where you, by your policies, have said if you're in here, you cannot defend yourself. I am going to take away the tool by which you could stop felonies, murders, rapes, robberies from happening. I'm going to take that tool away from you. And for what, Ralph? Hey, Ralph, help me out here. Again, help me out. How many customers in Rubio's Fresh Mexican Grill, law-abiding customers, carrying firearms, have pulled them out in a Rubio's Fresh Mexican Grill, caused a disturbance, harmed anybody? Not talking about felons, not talking about people coming in with the intent to commit felonies, robbery, rape, murder. Not talking about that, Ralph. They're just sitting there, eating their taco, eating their burrito, and suddenly this law-abiding citizen, just sitting there with his wife and his daughter, just pulls out a gun and commits a crime in your restaurant. How often has that happened, Ralph? That's right, Ralph. 0. So, Ralph, how many of your workers who may be carrying guns unbeknownst to you, how many of your workers, tell me, have pulled out a gun and threatened their fellow workers or the customers in Rubio's? How many, Ralph? Yeah, I'm guessing that's 0 too. Now, let's compare that, Ralph, because you're the big-time corporate executive, right? This should be simple. Let's do the math. How many Rubio's restaurants have been robbed by felons? Not people who are eating there, law-abiding citizens, just walked in and robbed the restaurant. How many, Ralph? I don't know how many, but I know the number's not 0, and I know that the number for the other two is 0, Ralph. What you're doing, Ralph, is you're condemning the law-abiding to be the victims of felons. If the felon wants to take that from an armed robbery into a rape, into a murder, into a hostage situation, your customers have no choice. So the guys that come in and rob Rubio's restaurants, Ralph, what did they pass? Are they law-abiding? No. But they get to come into your restaurants with guns, don't they, Ralph? Because you're not at the front door to stop them, are you? So violent, vicious felons are welcome in your restaurant with guns because you have no way to stop them. But law-abiding citizens who want to defend themselves, their wives, their daughters, their sons. In Rubio's restaurant, Ralph says no. Instead, come into our restaurant, and if one of these things happens to take place, you're just going to have to die. Because that's what, well, I'm Ralph Rubio, and I say so.